Hey guys, it's Chris here from Chris's Creative Life, and I design workshops that help you create beautiful projects from start to finish with easy to follow guides. So we're here today to put together a fun little layout. This is completely inspired by the live class that Karen Pederson taught on the Scrapbooking Today YouTube channel the other night. And I watched a few minutes of it and I thought, oh, I know what I'm going to do with that idea. So I'm going to create a layout with the same kind of concept of the grid pattern, but we're going to use some of the memory lane, which is a current special from Close to My Heart that is available until the end of this month. So don't forget to grab the pieces that you want before the end of the month. So I'm going to add my desk in and we're going to have some fun. Hey, Diane. And like I said, so I'm working on a sketch. So there will be a sketch eventually. I just didn't get that far in my day today, but it's pretty simple. You should be able to follow from the measurements. I did add some measurements in the description of the video, either above or below. It kind of just depends on where you're watching. But let's have some fun. So I'm going to add my desk in here now so you guys can see the parts and pieces that I have pulled together. And then I have to just turn the light up higher, because I don't know how all of a sudden my desk area got so dark, but that's okay. It's a lot of light on me. So I have picked some pieces of paper here. And so I have a piece of sapphire for a background. And so if you look in the description, I put, like I said, those rough measurements. So your back piece, I think I can actually see them while I'm still on, but the back piece is 12 by 12, which I picked a piece of sapphire paper for. And then I have a piece of sage paper, and that's going to be the 11.5 by 11.5. And then I have a piece of white daisy that's 10 by 10. And then I've cut pieces from the memory lane that are all 3 by 3. But I'm going to show you the photograph and why I picked to do what we're going to do today. So I have a photo of my daughter, and they just bought a house this spring. So it's their first house. So I thought, well, how perfect memory lane would be for that. So, like I said, I gathered some pieces. We're going to see what happens. I did do some coloring beforehand so that you don't have to watch all of that part. But let's start by sticking some of these pieces together. I have a whole tray of stuff here that we'll go over as we get closer. So like I said, I just picked some colors that coordinated with memory lane that I thought would work with the photographs. So their house is kind of like a sagey color. So I'm going to use the light side of sage facing up. And I do plan on doing a coordinating page for this layout because I have like a gazillion photographs from that day. Well, not just that day, but like the moving photos and stuff. Let me just fix this camera a little bit. There we go. Because you guys could see the webcam up above me, and that's just kind of funny. So here we go. We're going to try and center this one. Okay, I need to move some stuff out of my way, and I need to stand up. So that lasted all of what, like 5 minutes before I had to stand up, which means, there we go. Okay, and I'm just going to move my tray of stuff off to the side, and I'm going to go over it in a second, but let's get this background glued down first. So I do have my Versamat out because I love it. So, and I'm not going to stick that down to my Versamat because we're going to do a couple of things. So, like I said, there are parts and pieces of the layout that I am going to keep the same, and then things we're going to change up. Okay. Let's just grab. Yes, for sure it's going to be 2 pages because, so the fun thing about doing something like this, right, is like, so on my one side, I'm going to have like my focal image, right? And then on the other side, because like I said, I have a gazillion photos from this day. So I'm going to, I think, there we go. Do something very similar on the other side, but more of these pieces will be swapped out for photographs versus pieces of paper. And so I wanted to say I actually played with the combination of cardstocks quite a bit before I started, and I had lots of different variations. And that's the fun thing too about memory lane, right? There's so many colors that go with it that you could totally switch these out for anything. And you could obviously use any sort of other pattern paper. So I do have this photograph here, and I've printed it 4x4. And I always have a white border, and it just has to do with the fact that, like, because I always do that for workshops, I always just cut my photograph down just a little bit so that they all have white borders. So I typically keep it even if I don't need them. So then I've got a skinny mat here at like 4 1/8. So and I've got a little stamped piece there. So some of the pieces I did stamp and color beforehand, so you guys wouldn't have to watch that because that would take a long time. So then I have, so that was just like a 4 1/8, and then this is a 4 1/2 inch mat, I think. So I wanted it to kind of look like, you know, like a portrait that you'd have on the wall that has like the double matting. Okay. So, and you can see their house is kind of like the sage color. So I did color my house to match, and I used the memory lane stamp set, but we'll see that in a second. But so I picked out papers from memory lane, and I did lean towards having some of those greens in here, but I also wanted some of the like peaches and the papaya, because of her sweatshirt. So I've laid these out, and we're gonna first add these down, and then I'm gonna adhere everything together. So all these little pieces are just 3 inches, which gives them on the 10 by 10, right, a 1/4 inch mat. So I'm just using my ruler. Oh, this one I actually want it on this side. Okay. Rub and remove to the rescue. We're just going to take, because I wanted this two-tone with the darker, not the waves. See? No problem. There's literally nothing wrong with the other side. I just wanted the more of the pattern. So like I said, I just grabbed various different patterns, and because it doesn't take a lot, right, to get 9 3x3 pieces. Okay, so this could you could totally do this with scraps. I also thought about having this as a patterned piece. of paper. So that's always an option. But like I said, I played with all sorts of different combinations of the cardstock in the background. And this was actually the one I liked the most. There is snow in their photograph, which was April the 1st. So there you go. You know, we still have snow here in April. It was almost gone, but it was still there. So I thought that the white, and I thought that the white kind of brought all the other colors out too. So I'm just making sure that I want my pattern, right, to go in the same direction. So I think when Karen did hers, she used Cozy Up. So you could go and see her version on the Scrapbooking Today and Cards YouTube channel. Okay, so there we go. And that looks awesome. So now, because this is 10 by 10, right, we're just gonna add it to the middle, and then we're gonna have some fun with some of the other pieces. I just want to make sure I'm putting it on in the right direction as to how I set it up. Okay, so also if you wanted, you could pop some of these up on different levels, but I'm going to embellish the page, so I kind of just wanted everything flat for right now. Okay, so our photograph is going to go like here. So one of the fun things she did, which is a technique from one of the workshops that they did recently, was splattering with the metallic pens. So I grabbed my metallic pens, and we're going to get messy here to start so that I can just set it aside so it can dry. Now the metallic pens do dry very quickly, so it's not like splattering it with like the gloss sprays, because they do take a little bit longer. But while we're here, I thought I'll just show you the rest of the stuff that I pulled out. So I did pull out the memory lane stamp set. I pre-stamped a whole pile of images, and I did color some of them, like I said, so that you wouldn't have to watch me do all the coloring. I don't know what we're gonna add and what we're not gonna add, but I thought I would just really quickly show you the markers that I used. And these are all, they go really well with the memory lane collection. So even if you're doing anything else, these work out really great. So I used ice gray because like the roof of their house is gray, and the snow kind of had a gray tinge to it. So I added in ice gray, and then so their house, like I said, is kind of a sage color. So I actually colored it with two colors to kind of get a different look. So I used dull green, and then I ran a layer of vintage blue over top to kind of change the color of the sage green. And then I also have a red brown blend, burnt orange, coral, gold yellow, and then true blue shades. So those are the markers that I used. And then now we're going to play with the metallic pens. So they're actually metallic paint markers, but like I said, we'll do that first so that it gives it a little bit of time to dry. I also have my blending brush. I have some inks out because we're going to do some inking on the little things we're going to tuck in behind. So we're going to put something down so that I don't end up with ink all over the place, but I probably still will. Move that out of my way. So the metallic markers, I think we got them last year, and they're tons of fun, right? There's lots of different ways you can use them. They have come on and off of our supply list. So if you don't have them, just watch, because the gold one and the silver will of course be tons of fun for Christmas time. Okay, so I'm going to move some stuff out of the way here that I don't want to splatter, because you all know I will get it everywhere. So I'm just going to basically, it's the same kind of concept as you guys have seen me do with like the shimmer brushes all the time. You're basically going to just create a little puddle, and then we're going to use that to splatter. Let me just see if I can. It's going to try and stop the auto-focusing here, but maybe if I leave something here. Okay, so they all have, like paint markers, all have obviously paint inside. So you can squeeze the ink out of any of the ones you want, but I probably least use my chisel tip one. So I'm going to actually push ink out of this one. So you want to shake it up because all the paint is like moving around on the inside, right? So we have just a nice little puddle of ink there. And let's just, I'm just trying to see if I was trying to see if I actually had just like a plain brush, but I don't. So I'm just picking up the loose paint off of the all-purpose mat and splattering it. And so I'm just picking it up with the same one that I dropped it out of, and I'm just going to run it diagonally across. And then when I do the other page, right, I'll make sure this same element is on there also. And I have to say, so it's a different look than when you use shimmer brush, right? So shimmer brush kind of is just sits in the in the background, and you get a little bit of shine off of it. This is like, well, it's gold paint, right? So you get that, it's a different look. You could also mix in other kinds of splatter, right? You could mix in splatter from shimmer brushes, etc. Okay, so I'm going to set this aside. I'm going to see if the light will actually catch it. So it is super pretty, and I've just gone like diagonally across, right? But let's just, for 1 second, add our photograph back in. Okay, I want a little bit more here, so I'm going to now add a little bit more there. And I'm for sure, I think, going to pop that photograph up on 3D foam. Oh, that was good. And I've got kind of a nice little variety of dots. Okay, and I am not going to get rid of this just yet. So I'm going to move and I'll lift this all up to the side. Well, actually, I'm just going to move my mat out of the way. That makes the most sense. Okay. So we'll just set this up here, and then I'm going to show you some of the things that I have. So I grabbed, so she had some circles. I still have my stitch circle thin cuts, which I love. I love the stitching, anything with stitching, and I'm going to buy the thin cut. So I have 2 different sizes, and then I have my photograph. So let's add 3D foam to the photograph. And then, oh, a new roll, always fun. I get the tape off to start it. Okay, so I already know, right, I want 3D foam on my photograph. So I'm going to do that. We're going to do some ink blending on our circles, and I decided I'm going to do that with peach, and then I'm going to stamp with some more of the stamps from the memory lane. So I have my peach ink. And a blending brush. And then, so from that stamp set, I have So Much Love. And I think that's what I'm going to add to the big one. And then I have This Moment. And I'm going to put that on the other one. So let's add some ink to these circles. So just because I've got now paint all over my all-purpose mat, we're just going to use just a scrap piece of paper here. So I just always tap off into the lid because I fear if I'm going to lose the ink, it might as well go back onto my ink pad at some point. And you can decide how much you want. So then there we go. And that's nice. It just kind of, it ties in the white daisy that I'm using, but also brings in those peach colors. So something along that line, but let's stamp on this one because this is the one we're going to have to set up first. And then I grabbed stickers from the collection too. And like I said, I did color the little house. And so the little house here, you can see I did use that dull green and then I ran the vintage blue over top of it to kind of change the color to be more like their house. And then the windows are just the gold yellow. And then I added liquid glass to the window panes and set it aside to dry. They're almost dry, so I think it's okay, but it kind of just gives that pretty little sparkle on the windows. So that was fun. Okay, so I just need, we'll just flip this over quickly. And I've got a whole pile of dots here because the other thing she did was staggered dots and sparkles across the page. So we're going to do that same thing. And then I did cut a couple of tabs with my tab thin cut. And I think I'm going to use one or two of those. And I'm just not sure if I want this moment on one of these file tabs or if I want it on this circle. So we're just going to put some stuff in some places and see what happens. Okay, so I did color some of the floral images and I colored them all the same, and then I do have one of the trees and I colored it and fussy cut it out. So we're going to try and put some stuff together here. And then there is this little piece that I stamped that says Our Story, and it is also from that same stamp set. And I'm going to run the journaling along the bottom. So my plan is to use journaling strips. You guys know I love those. And I have my sticker sheet, but I don't see actually my journaling strips. They're here somewhere. And then I'll pull in some stickers here and hopefully tie it all together. So let's just see here. I'm going to start with this. So this is kind of how I want this. I know it's super cute, eh? And it's so easy and you could do anything with it, like I said. So I want to be able to see a little bit of the pieces there. I want to be able to see all the different patterns from the pattern paper. But so this is going right. So I kind of want to connect all of these together, right? And then my photograph's going to sit right on the shelf underneath the love. So that is where we're going to start. Anybody that follows me knows I love a good grid layout. Not only can you get like lots of patterns on a grid layout, you can also get lots of photographs into a grid layout. So I think I want my house to go over here, and then the our story is going to go just underneath. I'm going to dovetail this piece right here. So like I said, when you guys see something that you like, make sure to use it as inspiration because it can be so much fun. So I actually am going to put that right there. Okay, and then my pieces of journaling will go across the bottom for sure as soon as I find my journaling strips. That's so weird. I know. The second page too, like I said, I have so many photographs from this day. We are not going to have just a single page. No need to worry. So I did my tabs with ballerina just so they will stick out a little bit. And I think I'm going to use that one. And then add one of these down here. Something like that, because by tucking a few of those flowers behind, you can't actually tell that's exactly the same stamp set. You could even cut out pieces of the stamp set, right, and just use, for example, this flower would be really cute up there. But I have stickers too, so. And I feel like I want something up here, but I might actually wait until I do the second page to decide what I want to do up there. So I am going to add some stickers. I want something up there. Okay, but let's start putting stuff down before I start worrying about what else I'm going to do here. Okay, so I'm going to trim this off. I'll add this over my photo, just right across the bottom here. I'm going to adhere my tree and tuck it in. And then this I'm going to put on 3D foam. So I'm going to put 3D foam off of this side, but I'll adhere it into onto the photograph. The color, I love the colors from this special, this collection. They are so pretty. And I love that they're actually super versatile, right? There's lots of just really usable, not crazy overpowering prints. But you still have pattern, right? Like this fun pattern down here. So let's add our house to our scene. Okay. So now, we're going to add this moment onto our circle. And these tabs too, because they create two pieces, if you want, you can always cut them in half and just use half of it and then use the other half somewhere else. Because you don't technically need both pieces unless you're using it as like a tab. Okay. There we go. Now we don't need that anymore because I don't think there'll be more stamping. Now it's more just a matter of putting everything together. So see how this is actually, hello, see how it's actually two pieces? If you want, you can totally cut it down the middle so that it's only one layer of cardstock if you want. I'm just going to actually adhere them together. I'm going to tuck this moment in now because it should be dry. Right about there. This piece, of course, I ran out of tape runner, but luckily there's another one to the rescue. Okay, so then this I can tuck in right here. Oh, thank you. Okay, and then this one, like I said, we're going to tuck it underneath so you don't see some of the flowers, and then it will seem different. And then this one I'm going to use on the corner here, and I'm going to add 3D tape to it. And then we're going to tuck in some stickers, and then we can add some little embellishments. I actually just need to get, I have some more photos from this day, but I know she has like a ton more. So I need to remember to ask for them. So I have lots on the other side. I could even easily add like extra flip flaps on the other side to get more photos on here. I could add a flip flap on here, not now, but before I could have. Okay, so we have this fun little grouping going on, but I found them. Okay, So I am actually, though, going to clean the paint off my all-purpose mat before it gets too dry, because I'm not using any more. And well, I didn't want to have to peel it off later, but I guess we will. That's okay. So I'm going to use, I love these journaling strips, and so I'm going to run them across the bottom. Oh, I've got an extra one stuck to me. So this is, and they come in different widths. So this is the skinniest. So I'm assuming it could be 3/8, but we can check. And then you can just cut it off to whatever length you want. And two, don't forget, it was such a huge day. If you ever make a mistake on your journaling, on like a piece of white daisy where you've written out, you can use this as like a correction sticker to place over top. Yes, literally the funniest part, well, I'm not really sure it's funny, was literally they had no plans to buy a house for a couple of years. And then they were jacking up their rent. So they decided to start looking, and it all happened, well, relatively quickly. They were worried about getting stuck into their lease for another year. So, but it was like the middle of the winter when they were looking here, which is not a good time to look for a house here, as you can imagine. And I actually think I'm going to put the date on here. Because remember, originally I said I wasn't sure if I was going to do this moment and actually stamp it on the tab, but I think I will add the date on there. And so this one, so you can see here. So for example, if I had a piece of white daisy, I'll use this one that got stuck to my shirt. So let's say you were journaling and you were writing this moment and I forgot to put one of the letters in there. So all you have to do is take some of your extra little pieces and just, you can either cover up that whole piece and rewrite it, or just cover up the little bit that where your mistake is. They're super helpful. So now I literally have just grabbed a whole pile of embellishments that match, and we're just going to add some over here and some over here. And actually, I forgot I was going to do that. So let's move this one over just a little bit. Just like that. So, and because I only have like this yellow color, like the short honey butter that coordinates, I'm going to use some of these to bring that color into other parts of the layout. So that's the first like shape I'm going to put down because I know that I want that in there for sure. So I'll just grab my piercing tool. And I'm not going to put it up here because you can't actually see it against the gold. So that's okay. And then we can do some of these papaya pieces. And I actually have like a whole mixed bag here of all of my melon things that are left. So, and they are perfect. And like I said, I'm leaving this blank because I still think I might put something up here when I add the second page. And I'll tell you why, because I see like this as being the bottom of my triangle, right, with my visual triangle. So when I add my second layout into here, which I will do live for too, I foresee having to add something up here to balance the second page. So I'm not going to add a ton of embellishments up here. I think I'm just going to add a few more little pieces, and that will probably be it. Because like I said, that is what I foresee happening. Okay, and then I'm just going to add a few clear sparkles in here, and we will call it done. Like I said, I did start the sketch for it. I just didn't finish it, obviously, before I started the video. But maybe it will be better to have it all when I have the second page ready to go. So let's just move these to the side. Oh, and let's see if we want to add any stickers in here. Let's add that one there. These are perfect for just adding in little spaces. So I think I'm going to use these house ones on the other side. Oh, let's see. Maybe we need one of these up there. How about this one? Happy day. Just kind of tucked in there. That might be good. Okay, so let's just gently move this up just a little bit. And let's add some 3D foam here. And I don't have my anti-static pouch, so we'll just take off that stick on my skin. There we go. And so let's add some clear sparkles. I'll save this for the other side. And the other stickers. There we go. Okay. So I think we are going to call that one, this side, done. So there we go. So like I said, guys, I will come back and do the second page, but I think this is a pretty good place to start. So, sorry, just a second. I gotta turn it down. It is super not an attractive overhead light, guys. So, like I said, the light for some reason in my office has all of a sudden changed. I don't know if it has to do with the seasons or just what, but that's what I've got for you guys today. Thanks for joining me. Like I said, I do have the starting of the first sketch, and we'll just see if I wait to do the second one. But once I have the more photographs to do the companion page, I will come back and make the second half. Have a great day, guys. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.